When your garage sends you a spicy Snapchat, do you open it? When you see a purpose-built machine designed by trained engineers, do you say to yourself, me, my liberal arts degree, and some Chinese parts can make this better? When a wrench is your brush and your bike is the canvas, do you have what it takes to finger paint a silly smiley face? Will you be ready to answer the door when all the Instagram likes come a-knocking? You better rise and grind, and grind, and grind, and grind some more, 'cause you learned how to weld from a YouTube video. What will your art say about you? Your custom machine does the talking for you, and it tells the world who you are loud and clear. A man. A real man. A man who has an Amazon Prime account and a desperate need for validation. Right on, brother. Right on. What's up, Weirdo Shade Tree Surgeon here with the mighty off-road Goldwing, the dung beetle. I know when I first started this, I said I am not going to put a single thing on this motorcycle that actually makes it perform better off-road. This is going to be a true scrambler build in so much as looks only. Nothing's actually going to work. Well, I'm immediately eating those words as I do some stuff to make it better off-road. But really, that's just putting some engine guards on it, because while not having any engine guards on it definitely gives it like that cool stripped down look. Maybe even if you were building a scrambler, you take the engine guards off of it to make it look like lighter and better, but you were gonna want engine guards on this. There's a whole lot of exposed aluminum on there that would not take kindly to a big rock off-road punching a hole in it. So let's put a little protection on there. Now, with a 40-year-old motorcycle, you're not always gonna be able to find parts for it. Nobody makes any crash guards for this bike that are new. Luckily, Honda made so many of these things, finding guards ain't a problem. There's tons of them available for super, super cheap on eBay. That's exactly what I did. Fleabay sent me these. Who knows what they're off of, but they made so damn many of them, I got them now. So let's throw these suckers on. They're a little bit of a pain in the ass to put on because you do have to drop the exhaust, but it's not really that big of a deal. I went ahead and hit all the exhaust sides with PB Blaster before I even started recording, because let me tell you what, breaking off a stud inside the head, that's, you know, almost as bad as breaking open the head with a rock, because there's no engine guards. Pulling off exhaust that's been on the motorcycle for a while always kind of scares me. Did they put anti-seize on these? Probably not. Have they ever been off before? Probably not. Am I going to break it? It's always a possibility. What happens a lot with these, it looks like these are going to be just fine, being rewarded by my PB Blaster. What will happen is you'll start turning these things and you'll turn out the entire stud, which can be bad. Sometimes it's fine if you turn out the entire stud, and sometimes you're in for a real pain in the dick. And then sometimes it just breaks off. I had pretty good luck in the past with this, so fingers crossed to good luck again. So far, these all came off pretty easily. All right, we just got to remember with these Goldwing exhausts, and probably not just them, probably a lot of exhausts too, with anything that has like parallel engine design. The exhaust is connected underneath, so in order to get one side down enough to actually fit the crash bars where they're supposed to mount up, I am going to have to loosen the other side as well and loosen the bolts where it pivots at. Otherwise, you're just going to be yanking on it and nothing's going to happen because it's connected everywhere else. Well, let's go see if the bolts on the other side are as kind to me. Can my lazy ass roll all the way over there? Yes, I can. Alright, theoretically, now, I should be able to push down on it. Oh, and have it come right out. Cool. Let's see how much of a son of a bitch this will be. Not much of a son of a bitch at all, actually. And start to put this thing together. Very cool. What I have up next is an especially hilarious one for me personally, and probably a lot of other people who have been doing like motorcycle related YouTube videos for a long time. I can't tell you how many sponsorship opportunities, when I say sponsorship opportunities, I mean send you some free product and expect you to suck their dick. I can't tell you how many emails over the years I've gotten from these guys, and it filled me with an absolute sense of hilarity to actually pay for this. What's even funnier is I actually paid a little bit of a premium for this. So I went on and I asked Buddy Bezos for a nice set of driving lights for this, because the headlight for this thing just ain't up to the task. And of course, since it's an adventure bike, they have to be yellow. And lo and behold, our old friends Auxbeam came up, and now they make some cool yellow lights. Now, this is especially hilarious, like I said, because these guys flooded the market on every motorcycle YouTuber who would freaking take a free product. And this was back when motorcycle YouTube was like 10 years ago, when it was still in its infancy, 10, 12 years ago. And you saw everybody and their brother putting Auxbeam lights on their motorcycle, because that's what Chinese companies do. They used to call it price dumping. It's actually illegal. Japanese companies are the ones who first started doing it. Now Chinese companies do it, and they don't price dump. They basically just send it for free to everybody that they possibly can at a loss. So now it becomes a popular product. And now when you go on the Auxbeam Amazon page, it looks like so slick, and they're touting how they're so much better than all the other ones, and they're better than like the Dong Fang. Freaking Chinese ones are probably made in the same factory. Anyway, the fact that I actually paid money for these, they were 80 bucks for the pair of them. The fact that I actually paid for these, when I've been sent, I over the years, probably 50 to 100, who knows how many emails of saying, do you like bright light? Does bright light bring much pleasure to motorcyclists? We love your channel. Your channel is good. Bring much pleasure. Have our lights on your channel, Auxbeam. Now I'm putting Auxbeams, finally. And I paid full price for them. That's the only way I would ever have Auxbeams. It's very funny to me. Not everyone might understand why that's hilarious to me, but I am giggling inside to death. So I could have bought mounts for these, but I figured since I have some different highway pegs, I'm gonna put on these anyway. These Fleabay highway bars, crash bars, came with some pretty beat up highway pegs. Luckily, I can just repurpose these and use them as mounts for my driving lights in the front. What in tarnation? Yeah, they're standard. Probably because they were meant to be on a Harley Davidson or something and got put on this. But also, Goldwings have a ton of standard hardware on them, because forget when they started getting made in America, but it's very likely that this motorcycle was made in America. There we go. Goes from being a highway peg to a really nice driving light mount. Hole's not quite big enough. Luckily it's aluminum. This won't be hard. Oh, that certainly looks really adventure-y, right? That's how people know you're on an adventure. Yellow lights. That's how. Are they even? Maybe. I'm back from a short break to lay in bed and not sleep at all. That was frustrating. I have a horrible, horrible insomnia. Anybody who actually suffers from insomnia knows what I'm talking about. It's not the whole, I'm up all night watching movies and being on message boards and fucking around on the computer. No, that's not what insomnia is. You're just staying up. Insomnia is laying in bed, staring at the back of your eyelids, back hurting, unable to do anything about it, tossing and turning, and not sleeping at all, but desperately wishing you could. If you stay up all night playing video games, you don't have insomnia. You're just staying up. Anyway, let's finish putting these Auxbeams on. They actually came with a really, really nice wiring harness, and this comes with a relay, hooks up to the battery. It's got really nice waterproof connectors. The only thing that's lame about it, the switch they gave you is just this like really, really cheesy on and off switch that has like a spring in it, and the back of it is meant to be stuck onto something with adhesive. Switch is pretty whack. I'll probably replace this later with something that has an actual toggle on it. But let's go ahead and start with what every Goldwing project usually starts with, and removing the seat. Because we're going to take off this false gas tank right here, because the gas tank is underneath the seat. Take this off and run all the wiring right this time. Running the wiring right is not normally something I do. That's normally something I avoid, but we're going to try to do it right. Always want to make sure these suckers are in, man, especially when you're using ball ends. really easy to strip out a bolt with these. Usually everyone talks about how hard gold wings are to work on, and some things can be hard, but what I'm doing right now is pretty damn easy. Some things on gold wings are an absolute nightmare, but most things are actually really easy. These things had a lot of engineering in them. Now, I think the GL 1500s are probably the easiest to work on. I've never worked on anything after that, but 1500s are they just fall apart when you start taking them apart in a good way. These older ones are a little harder, but still, most of the stuff on it's really easy. Even a lot easier when they're naked like this. Boom, there we go, man. Yeah, like I said, no gas tank underneath there. Got some old school glass fuses up here. It's nice to have all this infrastructure here already because it makes it really easy to choose a place to mount all my stuff. Obviously comes with a ton of extra wire because they don't know what you're mounting it to. You could just cut it off, but one thing I do know is that my solder is going to be way less tough than the solder that they put on it. Gotta know your strength, so I think I'll just tuck the wires instead of cutting them. I do wish they had given me some more options to mount this relay somewhere else, although I guess I can mount it right under here. I am cackling inside at all times that I'm actually installing Auxbeam LED lights on a motorcycle. That is just beyond hilarious. It's kind of ridiculous to leave this much wire just hanging out in here, but I really don't want to cut it, and there's plenty of room to tuck stuff away. One thing I was really impressed with these Auxbeams, I hate to say anything nice about them because it's so hilarious that I have them, but give you a really good connector with the wiring harness that they provide. And the moment of truth, abracadabra. Hey, baby. That works. Don't like that this switch has a little red LED on it. I'm worried about that, you know, not being the best for the battery, but I guess we'll see if that does anything or not. Okay, that's more than enough actual useful modifications. Let's go straight back into useless with some Pro Taper pillow tops, baby, because how is anyone gonna know your 1,000-pound gold wing is supposed to go off-road unless you got some dirt bike grips on it? You know, ours is not to ask why, but to ask why not. I'm gonna regret this later. These really don't need to be on here, but they do make it look really cool. All right. I'm gonna leave off for now because since they had tried to use these on another project, I've only got like half the hardware. Can't actually install them right now. Give myself a little bit of time to think about it. Maybe I don't want to do this. It's pretty dumb. We'll see. Let's come back to this. Continuing right along with our trend of useless modifications, gold moto pegs, because it's a gold wing, get it? These are $30 Buddy Bezos specials. These are not the Flow Motorsports ones. I've got the same kind of foot peg on my Sportster. I initially mistrusted them because somebody just sent them to me in the mail, and I found out they were just some Amazon foot pegs, but they've been on multiple off-road adventures on my Sportster, holding up my 300-pound fat ass while I'm standing up on it. So they pass the muster, and they come in gold for the gold wing, if they fit, because these are for a Harley. But a foot peg's a foot peg's a foot peg sometimes. Not all clevises are built the same, but the ones on the gold wing pretty much are exactly the same design as Harley uses. Harley didn't invent the way their foot pegs work, it's just a way that they work. So since these are adjustable, if you see in there, they've got that Allen right there, which puts some Loctite on that if you order these. Ask me how I know. You can adjust the angle of them, so they should work fine. Should. As I was saying, this definitely won't work on every bike, and hell, it might not even work on the gold wing. That still remains to be seen. But they do look to be the same general design as a Harley. Nothing weird about them. Some bikes use a really weird clevis design, but these are pretty normal looking. It does have that piece that fits in there like that to hold this spring in place, but theoretically shouldn't need that because the cotter, this dowel should also hold that spring in place, if not perfectly in place like it was before. Should still hold it in place. We don't go up anymore. Okay, there was a different design. So these do fit, they will work. Yeah, I mean, they'll work. I don't see why they wouldn't. Definitely not an improvement over what Honda put on there. Definitely not an improvement. But, I mean, that was kind of the point, wasn't it? We're not making improvements here. We're doing it for looks only. No actual improvements. Ooh, that wasn't even tight. Yeah, put Loctite on this if you order these. I don't like how much it moves around on there. I wish I had some sort of sleeve to put on it. This remains to be seen if I'm going to use this or not. I guess we'll just ride around with it for a minute and see how we like it. I want to put them on there because it's extra useless, and I love this. That's the whole point, is being extra useless. But will it actually break? I definitely don't want that. Okay, so I'm a little sketched out about the size, the dowel that goes through these things versus the size of this. So it's resting on the dowel, obviously, but there's a lot of wiggle room in there. I have a thought, and the thought is this, the correct size right there. So a trip to Home Depot is in order, but let's see if we can make these, well, they work. There's no reason they wouldn't work, but let's see if we can make them work a little bit better. Okie dokie. Let's see if we can make this work without totally ruining these foot pegs. A dicey proposition at best. They weren't very expensive, but they weren't fucking free. So I'm not really sure if I've ruined this or not, but in for a penny, in for a pound. See how it does on there. I'm just worried that I've taken too much of a metal reduction right here. I don't know. It makes me a little wary. Only one way to find out, though. Let's slap this sucker in and see what, see how she does. It seems like an awful lot of work for some moto foot pegs that really don't even need, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? We're supposed to be doing useless mods. I don't need this. That's why I'm doing it. I suppose there's only one way to find out, and that's to stand up on them and jump up and down. So let's slap them on. And most of the force is going to be on the bottom, not the top, which I made thinner. So the bottom still has plenty of space on it. I just made the top a little thinner, which does not support any of your body weight. So maybe. It once again feels good to be practicing the Custom way. Custom. All right, I'm gonna hold on to these things because, believe it or not, and sure do believe it, because when you talk about scrambler mods that you get from Buddy Bezos, people are usually replacing very hard to find parts that everybody wants, and I'm going to keep with crappy parts made in China. So I'm holding on to these because I might want them for something else one day. This is a 1983, and specifically the 1983 foot pegs are actually the most desirable ones for this setup. Flight of the dung beetle, much like Flight of the bumblebee, only slightly smellier and a lot slower. Will I get a copyright for that? Is that old enough that I can use it? I don't know. We'll have to make up our own. We'll have to make up our own Flight of the dung beetle. It's just gonna be like Flight of the bumblebee, but at like half speed, chopped and screwed. Is that your very first time wearing your new Odins? Hell yeah. Damn, dude, those are fresh and clean. Holy crap, dude. Who even knew it could be like, are they different colors?
They're just opposite patterns.
All right, let's ride. Ducati and the Dung Beetle side by side on a Honda Ducati adventure. We have the Monster. We have the 83 Goldwing, my birth year. It's lucky. You can tell it's an adventure bike because it has gold pegs and it has yellow lights. That's obviously what makes an adventure bike. That, and, you know, you can't have, obviously, you know, your chicken wire headlight. I should have taped it too. That's how if you tape and chicken wire, pure adventure. I don't really need to test ride it because I didn't do any, well, I guess the pegs. I was just like, I didn't really do anything to it that like changes the way it handles. I mean, honestly, nothing feels like it's changed. But, you know, that's as it should be. The grips are a lot smaller, so I make fun of myself for putting Pro Taper grips on here, and that definitely is like, I need to look cool and off-road move on a street bike, but believe it or not, I actually prefer 7/8 grips, and while these are 7/8, what Goldwing uses, like the grips that are normally on Goldwings, make them as big as 1-inch grips, or the same as grips on Harleys, so if you put just regular grips on them, they feel like 7/8 grips, which I do prefer. In fact, I might actually switch my Sportster over to 7/8 grips. Where else to fill up bikes like Cammy's Monster and the Dung Beetle but the stab and grab? I don't think they'd run on anything else, I'm being honest. They would just stop in protest. I think it's cool. I think This one? Maybe. It's the only thing that would stop you is that it's wide. You could just ride it and then on your way back I would catch you. Like when you ride a tall bike. Yeah. You can ride it if you never put your feet down. I really like the way these old flat fours accelerate. It's not as fast as the flat six. It's not as fast as a 1500. Like, obviously, there's no way it could be. But I really like the way they accelerate. I think it's the 4 carburetors. Really makes me want to try a Valkyrie. The flat six with 6 carburetors. I bet that thing has crazy acceleration. Well, not crazy. It doesn't make that much horsepower, but just the throttle response of a carb for every cylinder is wild. Just something about these old wings that just make them so pleasant to drive. And I always was like of the mind that, you know, why would you ever take the fairing off a gold wing? That stops it being what it is. Like, it should, why would you take a fairing off? Why would you ever take the fairing off? It's a gold wing. It's supposed to have a fairing. Until I rode one with the fairing off of it, and I'm just going, man, I love this. This is really a lot of fun. Now, I don't think I'd take the fairing off of every gold wing, but having this one and riding this one around with no fairing on it like this just really makes the engine shine, and it's such a cool engine. My man on the one wheel giving us the wave. I like it. Of course, it did look like I was waving at him, so I'm just okay, I'll wave at one wheels. I'll bite. I'll do it. I'm down, man. If you're on a one wheel, I'm into it. You know, I'm always just like 2 wheels, dude. Wave at scooters. But I guess, you know what? If you're on a unicycle or an electric one wheel, I'm just going to go ahead and say it right now. Or that thing. I'm just going to go ahead and say, you get the wave, baby. You get the wave. We love it. I know, I saw it. It's super. I wonder if it's electric. I wonder if it like falls under golf cart instead of vehicle. We can look it up. The Moki. Monkey. They should have called it Monkey. That would have been way better. I'm going back to Monkey. That's what we're doing with the gold wing. Reject modernity. Reject modernism. Reject the revolution of scramblers that can actually scramble. We're going back to Monkey. We're making scramblers that only look the part again. We're going all the way back, baby. We're not doing it anymore. We're once again going back to form over function. We just want it to look the part. We want it to be a pretender. Whoa, there she goes, baby. She's on fire on the Ducati. We don't want anything real. No real off-road ability. Screw these Ducati desert sleds. The Tenere 700. The Triumph Scrambler 1200. No, we don't want that. We want bikes that are crappy off-road again. We want the dirt wing. We want the dung beetle. We want chicken wire over our headlights and yellow adventure lights that never plan to really go off-road, except we are going to take this off-road. We're definitely taking this into an off-road adventure. You better believe it, baby. Well, look, Chief, you're going to have to make a decision. Fortune favors the bold. You can do it. I believe in you. There you go. See? I always love it when you like let someone in and they just creep over real slow. Like, oh, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. Oh, is there a space? Oh, I guess I'll take it. Like, bitch, I'm letting you in. Just take it. Be bold. Make the move. You haven't actually gotten this thing over 70 to see if it still shakes once it has a little bit of air in the suspension. Of course, the air leaks out after a few days. It doesn't stay in there long. So you have to constantly refill it, but it is what it is. I might do something fun with the front suspension. I might not. I got a couple of ideas kicking around in my head. This is a 39mm Showa front end, which is the same 39mm Showa. Well, not exactly the same because it has air ride and Honda track system, but there's a 39mm Showa front end on a Harley Sportster, and my Harley Sportster has a kit on it that gives it 7 inches of suspension travel with custom springs that make it handle great off-road. So stands to reason I could put a 39mm Sportster front end with that kit on it from Traction Dynamics into these triple trees. I mean, where's the lie? Why could I not do that? Why could I mean, I'd only have one front brake. That would be a bummer, but then TC Bros sells an adapter that I can put a freaking axial mount, or is it radial mount? Whichever one's the better one. I can put a big, like, 4-piston Brembo on the front, so losing one side of the brakes isn't really going to be that big of a deal. I don't know. I don't see why you couldn't do it. Like, you'd have to run a Sportster front wheel, which would actually be better because the Kenda Big Block that's on the front of this, the Goldwing has an 18-inch front rim, which is an odd size, so The tire on the front is a rear tire, not a front tire. If I had a 19-inch rim from a Sportster, I could run a dirt front tire. I don't know, it just keeps making more and more sense to me. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Maybe somebody who's an engineer knows a little bit about suspension. Oh yeah, this thing was shaking like a leaf above 70. It still doesn't feel super stable, but 75, oh, there we go, getting a little bit of wobble. It's not bad. Before I could barely take it over 70 without feeling it. Oh, it's definitely, I think it's in the suspension. The tire, the rear tire on the front is not helping, but I really think that it's in the suspension mostly. So if I had suspension set up for my weight from Traction Dynamics with a Sportster front end on here, I don't know, you tell me, boys, that'd be kind of cool. You ever see a Goldwing with 7 inches of suspension travel? That'd be fucking wild, wouldn't it? There she goes. God, that Ducati is freaking cool, man. Cammy got herself a cool bike there. I love it. YouTube keeps messing with us, man. I keep making fun videos with Cammy on her Ducati, and YouTube keeps, even though, like, she's not doing anything. She's literally just on the bike with the camera facing her, being alive and being shaped the way she is. And YouTube is like, you've got boobs. That's sexually gratifying. But I guarantee you could take a girl who was not as chesty as Cammy is and put her in the same tank top and put her on a bike, and YouTube would be like, A-okay. I think that's pretty unfair. But also when they're like, you're trying to be too sexy, I'm just like, what? Who? Me? And I'm like, yeah, okay, you got me. But still, the same girl who wasn't as chesty in the tank top would not be getting demonetized and their videos taken down. I guarantee it. That double standard kind of bothers me, but yeah, it is what it is. It only bothers me because I'm trying to get away with something. I love a good loophole, so I always argue it and say that, and sometimes they let me get away with it. I'm gonna keep sticking my neck through loopholes until one closes around it. At least that's what my grandpa always told me. I wonder if you'll get demonetized too. Cammy got this video where she had the front-facing camera got demonetized. They're like, you're trying to be too sexy. That's too sexy. I love it. YouTube's new rules are just like, all a woman has to do is exist, and they're like, nope. Too sexy. Of course, you know, all a woman has to do is exist around me, and I start saying anything that comes into my damn fool head. So I get him on that one. I guess we're just, you know, two sides of the same coin there. Just being on this makes me want to take an adventure. I love adventure, baby. I love it. Just getting itchy feet, man. The rest of the country's finally opening up to us. Me and Shaylise are just sitting here like planning all sorts of routes, saying where we want to go, and we are getting stir crazy. We have not escaped the Wang since last year, and it's time. It's time. We need to go. Sit in one place too long, we get stagnant. We start to writhe and squirm. Let us free, we say. Escape the Wang. That's what we're feeling right now. I can feel it all over my body. My skin's just crawling like someone stuck 1,000 ants underneath it. They're all doing the shuffle. They're all jiving, all those ants underneath my skin, and they're all saying the same thing. They're all singing the same song. They're singing, hit the road, baby, on the road again. That's what they're singing, and I think it's time. I can deny it no longer. As fun as this flat 4 is, it ain't keeping up with the Ducati 750. That Monster 750, the first one. That thing is just such a classic, man. What a classic bike. It's weird to call a Ducati a classic, but that one definitely is. There's probably a lot of people who are still riding them every day and bought them brand new who think it's weird to call 1983 Goldwing 1100 a classic. 83, man, same year as me, dude. We're both turning 40 this year, baby. You and me, Goldwing. Let's go. Age is just a number that don't stop you from adventuring. You just adventure a little weirder. Speaking of adventure, I'm gonna have myself a little mini adventure here at Coppertail. If you guys have been keeping up with my other videos, my weight loss videos, you know that I've been giving up beer. I've been giving up a lot of food I like. I've been doing dieting and exercise because I'm almost 40 years old, same as this Goldwing. The Goldwing can't lose no weight, but I have to, or else it's gonna kill me. So I've pretty much given up beer and all the food I like, but a man's still gotta live. So every once in a while, I will allow myself a little treat. And you guys, as much as Miller High Life and Miller Lite and all crappy beers that I drink, I do love a good beer too. And here's the cool thing about Coppertail. They actually make a light beer. Because I like to drink local when I can. But now that I gotta have light beer, my options become very limited. Coppertail's got me in mind though. Always very cool when we run run into fellow kindred spirits. Was that your Jeep over there? What kind of car was that you were in?
No, we're the old 4Runner.
I should have known that,
Yeah,
dude, when you walked up.
205,000 mile 4Runner.
Dude, 4Runner, you think
They
motorcycle
never die.
people are weird?
No,
4Runner
no.
people are the weirdest.
No, it's my daily driver.
Dude, I knew a guy who had a 4Runner, and then he had 3 other 4Runners in storage for when it broke that his wife didn't know about.
Oh.
4Runner people are something else, dude, so I already know I'm gonna like you. Let's have a beer, man. Dude, every time I see a nice car done up in like matte green like that, I'm like, are you a rapper? You must be famous. Especially like a Tesla done up like that, I'm like, oh, dude, with your matte green Tesla, come on. When's the next album dropping? Well, one and done. And even though I like to go out and treat myself like a dog, I just gotta let myself out to pee every once in a while, go and have a beer. It is just one single beer. I can't be sitting there and drinking 10 beers because that's the slippery slope, man. If I'm saying whoa, I'm just trying to exist over here, buddy. Take it easy. What was that about?
No.
Did he do anything to you?
No.
Like, all right, take it easy, bud.
When people say we have a big truck, I get upset when you come right.
Yeah, well, this is the European mind cannot comprehend this reality. Okay, when our friend from England comes over and says our truck is huge, we just go, you poor sweet summer child, you know nothing. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, adventure.
Well, the end of this video was supposed to be an adventure, or the preview of an adventure, but plans change, bikes break down, things happen, that's okay. Not everyone turns out great, and we don't always win at the end. Sometimes we have to turn around and go back home. That's all right. Just wanted to end this video and remind you guys that the last day to get a raffle ticket for the 1998 GL 1500 Goldwing that we're giving away is Friday. We're going to pull a winner on Friday. The raffle is, of course, benefiting Forgotten Angels. 100% of that money goes to help it build tiny homes for young men who've aged out of the foster care system. If you know me and you know Forgotten Angels, you know what we're doing and you know what we're about. We are bad people doing good things. And somebody's gonna win that gold wing, and I'm gonna fly him down here, and you're gonna get to attempt to ride it back home. You don't always make it, but if you made it every time, then it wouldn't be very exciting, would it? There's gotta be some stakes, baby. Victory doesn't taste very sweet unless there's a chance you might lose. So you always accept failure as an option. Till next time, y'all, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree, army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.